Welcome you again in the classes of EVS Academy. In the last class or last lecture, we have completed the water pollution. Today we have to start the air pollution. Noise, water, thermal pollution we have completed. The last pollution that we are completing right now is the air pollution. Maybe in 2 or 3 classes we will complete the air pollution as well. If you look at the full syllabus of the UGC NET Environmental Science in paper 2, if you ask me the most important unit in which or through which the multiple questions or the maximum number of questions they can ask you. So that is the air pollution. So air pollution, if you want to score more, if you want JRF, then air pollution unit should be very, very clear to you. So you can see that the average number of questions that is highest among all the units, almost 15 questions, 10 questions been asked. In some papers, almost 20 questions have been asked from only this particular unit, air pollution. I'm not talking about the whole pollution, water pollution, noise pollution. So there would be the extra question you will get from that. Only from the air pollution, average of 15 questions you will get in the question paper. So read this unit very carefully and understand the concept very carefully in the perspective of the upcoming examination. So as you all know, what is the air pollution? So air pollution is mixing of any contamination or maybe any factor or maybe anything in the excess amount so that the air is now termed as harmful. So it cannot be termed as a pure air, and it is harming the organisms present in the environment or harming the people which are living in the environment. So that is the thing. So here the air pollutants we have to discuss how many types of pollutants you can find out. So here the air pollutants are termed as two types. One is the primary pollutants, another one is the secondary pollutants. And here the primary pollutants, what are the primary pollutants? Primary pollutants are the pollutants which enters into air directly from the source, and it is not reacting in the air, they are remaining in the same form. So that all would be the primary pollutants. Then we have the secondary pollutants. Secondary pollutants are the types of pollutants which are formed in the atmosphere after reaction of the primary pollutants with any atmospheric constituents. Suppose any kind of, for example, NO, the nitrous oxide, that is coming out from the source and now it is reacting with the oxygen present in the atmosphere in the primary pollutant and secondary pollutant. So what are the pollutants which are under the primary pollutants category? So these are the carbon monoxide, CO. Then we have the CO2 sometimes directly emitted by the vehicles or maybe factories or industries, whatever present in the atmosphere. Sulfur dioxide is a primary pollutant. Then we have NO and NO2, both are the primary pollutant. Mostly all the hydrocarbons which are coming out from the mainly from the vehicles, then coal power plants. So all those hydrocarbons which are mainly coming from the burning of fossil fuels. So that is also a type of primary pollutant directly coming into the atmosphere from the source. And then most suspended particles, dust particles are also in the category of primary pollutant. Then we have the category of the secondary pollutant, which are formed by the reaction of these primary pollutants with the atmosphere. Similarly, we have SO3, which is reacting with the oxygen by the SO2, and by that SO3 is formed, that is secondary pollutant. Then HNO3 formed by NO2, H2SO4 formed by SO2, H2O2 formed by the H2O and the oxygen present. Then the ozone is formed by the atmosphere. Then PEN, peroxyacetyl nitrates, those are also part of the secondary pollutants. Detail of the pens we will see in the upcoming slides. Then mostly all the nitrate particles, sulfate particles, or the salts which are present in the atmosphere are also kind of secondary pollutant. So this is the first type of categorization or the classification you can see of the air pollutants. Then we have, for example, forest fire, you can say if it is caused by any natural phenomena. Then we have the volcanic eruption. Then we have earthquake and all that through which air is get polluted. That all is under the natural phenomena of the air pollution. Then we have the anthropogenic pollution. Anthropogenic pollution is the pollution type of pollution which is caused by the human activities. For example, the burning of the fossil fuels, then the factories or industries which are polluting the air, then we have all the automobiles, the vehicles that is causing pollution in the atmosphere. Those all are anthropogenic types of sources of air pollution. So according to the nature and the human activity, this is again divided in natural type of pollution and the anthropogenic type of pollution. So this is the categorization of the air pollution. So I hope it is clear to you. Now there is a term used by USA, United States of America, and all over the world as well. That is the criteria pollutants. So criteria pollutants are the number of pollutants or types of pollutants which are under this category. And this term is mainly given by the Environmental Protection Agency of the USA. So they have termed the very main critical six type of pollutants which is causing very high amount of pollution in the atmosphere worldwide. So those all are the criteria pollutants. What are the criteria pollutants? The criteria pollutants that you can see here is the NOx. So here NO, NO2 both will come, then SOx, SO2, SO3 both will come under this category, carbon monoxide, ozone, particulate matter, and lead. All these six are termed as criteria pollutants according to the EPA USA. Then if you look at the Indian constant, so in the Indian context, we have the multiple number of pollutants categorized by air quality of India, AQI. AQI given this following number of the pollutants which are having a very high amount of contribution in the air pollution in our atmosphere. So according to AQI, there is a concept given by AQI that is one color, one code, and one description of the pollutants. So all the pollutants are categorized in AQI category, and under the AQI calculation, these eight parameters or eight number of pollutants the criteria pollutants are present. For example, NO2, SO2, CO, O3, the both particulate matter we have, and lead. And apart from that, the particulate matter is divided into two categories here, that is PM 2.5 and PM 10, according to the suspended particle diameter. If it is less than 2.5, it is PM 2.5. It is less than 10, that is PM 10. And then we have ammonia, NS3, that is also under the category of the pollutant in AQI index of India. So in AQI index, air quality index, we have total 8 different pollutants here. And according to EPA USA, we have total 6 criteria pollutants. In our AQI index, we have all the 6 criteria pollutants as well as 2 more pollutants. One is the PM10, another one is the NS3 or ammonia. So this categorization you have to remember these particular categorization as well. Then we have the different pollutants. One by one, we are going to discuss all these pollutants or the main things which is taking part in the reaction in the atmosphere. So very first pollutant that we have to discuss here is the NOx. NOx is what? NOx is the combination of the NO and NO2, nitrous oxide and nitric oxide. If you look at the main sources of this NOx pollution, so if you look at the sources in two categories, one is the natural, if it is coming from the natural sources. Another one is the anthropogenic, when it is coming from the human activity. So if you look at the natural phenomena, so natural phenomena, the main contribution of NOx takes place by the forest fire and the lightning that takes place during the cloudy season or during the rainy season. So that causes NOx pollution in the atmosphere. Now remember that in the volcano, no NOx pollution is present. So this point you have to remember in the volcano or during the volcanic eruption. Then if you look at the anthropogenic sources, the sources which are contributing through the human activities. So very major anthropogenic source of the NOx is the vehicles, which is causing very huge amount of NOx pollution, and the burning of fossil fuels. So burning of fossil fuels takes place in the vehicles as well, apart from the electric vehicle. So that vehicles are the main source of NOx pollution in the atmosphere by the human activity. Then all the transportation things, suppose you take the electric vehicle as well. So that electric vehicle is running through the electricity, and that electricity is produced by any coal power plant. So that is what? That is also kind of anthropogenic sources. So whether you are not using a fossil fuel based transporting agent, but still if you are using the electricity or any other source of energy, somehow or indirectly it is causing the air pollution as well. Then we have the third most important factor of the anthropogenic sources, that is the industrial emission. And last is the biomass burning takes place in the villages or in any other area where the burning of wood takes place. That is the biomass burning. So these all are the different sources of NOx pollution in the atmosphere. Then NOx itself is divided in two different types. The two types mainly which are categorized here is the thermal NOx, which is causing almost 5% contribution of all the NOx. Then we have the fuel NOx. Fuel NOx means burning of the fossil fuel, burning of the biomass, then the emission by the vehicles. That all is the fuel NOx. And in the atmosphere, whatever NOx is present, 95% of that NOx is coming from this fuel NOx. So 95% contribution by the fossil fuel burning, and only 5% contribution by the thermal NOx, which is generated by the lightning or any natural phenomena you can say. So this thermal NOx is 5%, fuel NOx is 95%. Then we have two more terms that should be clear. That is the NOZ. What is the NOZ? So NOZ is that material which is formed by the oxidation of NO or NO2.